CRD 3.6. 3.6 is only an overview of Chapter 3. It's really good review, but Chapter 3 is actually long, hard, important, and kind of scattered a little bit. So it's important to kind of think for a minute about how everything ties together. So this is going to be a really short video, but it's going to really call attention to the things that are going to help you have success on the test and moving forward. So I only have really two problems to do, one on this slide and one on the next slide. There are three directions you're going to see on the review and on the inch 3.6 in the review and on the test and on the practice test. And it's really essential that you read and underline or highlight the directions as you're doing the test, because if you don't answer the question properly, you will definitely lose points. So, number one, directions say factor. Look at what I've given. I'm given an expression. There's no equal sign, there's no answer. If I'm asked to factor it, I'm asked to come up with two binomials that multiply or FOIL to give me this quadratic. Okay. Number two, solve for x. Now I'm given an equation with one variable, x. It's squared, and in this case it equals 0, but you may have to move it into standard form and then solve it. What are you going to do? Factor it, but then set each one equal to 0, and your answer will say x equals something. So remember, your answer here is going to be two binomials. Your answer here is going to be x equals something. And then here, find your x-intercepts. That would be the third thing. This has an x and a y. It's referring to the graph, the parabola. It's looking for the points where it hits the x-axis. So I'm looking for an ordered pair, x comma y, x comma y. And you know what? Since it's an x-intercept, the y is always 0. The y is always 0. So important distinctions to make here. That's how you'll state your answer. Hopefully your 0 will be neater than mine, because mine is a wreck. So if I'm going to do this problem, it says factor. All right, well, I know I'm going to come up with two binomials. This is just an expression. All I can do is x, and think about what multiplies to give me 40. How about 10 and 4? That multiplies to give me 40, and if I subtract them, I'll get 6, so I need a positive 10 and a negative 4, and I am done. Okay, next one. I have solve. It's equal. It's already in standard form. Guess what I do? Oh my gosh, it feels like the same question. First I have to factor, but now I'm asked to solve. Many students leave their answer like this and then they lose points because they have not told me what x equals. When it says solve for x, I want to know what x equals. So I said x plus 10 equal to 0, x minus 4 equal to 0, and I solve and I get negative 10 and I get positive 4. That's my answer. Two answers, x equals 10, negative 10, and positive 4. Yes. Okay, finally, find the x-intercepts. If I'm asked to find the x-intercepts, I have y equals this. What do? I have to sub in a 0 for y. Oh my goodness, this looks like the exact same question I just did in the last problem. What do I do next? I factor x plus 10, x minus 4, same process, and I get x equals negative 10 and 4, just like I got here. What I'm asking you for, however, is x-intercepts. And x-intercepts are points on the graph. So the x-intercepts are this: negative 10, comma 0, 4, comma 0. Now I've gotten full credit. Okay? Make that distinction in your brain. Put it in your notes to self. Put it on your study guide, whatever it takes. Okay. Next question. Look at this. Same question, same thing again, but I've been given three different sets of directions. Factor, solve for x, and find the x-intercepts. If you want to quiz yourself, pause the video and do it on a piece of paper and then see if you get it right. I'm going to try and go really fast. Factor. This is a dots. It has no GCF, so I know it's x minus 5 and x plus 5. I got it right. This one, solve for x. I care what x equals. So I have to do x minus 5, x plus 5, but it still equals 0. So I set each one equal to 0. X minus 5 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0. And I solve and I get x equals 5 and negative 5. This one, I sub in a 0 for y and I factor. I'm going to go quickly. I got that, but now I have to process it and put it in state so that it says x-intercepts. My x-intercept is -5, 0 and 5, 0. There actually is one more pitfall I'm remembering right now as I'm doing this video. Sometimes you are come up with two equations that look like this. Okay, that's not what I meant to say. You come up with two binomials that look like this, and you're asked to solve. So my directions say solve, and I've been given these two binomials, and they equal 0. So if I want to solve, I want to figure out what x is. Well, some kids just jump straight to the answer of, oh, it's -1 and -3. But guess what? That is incorrect. Okay, not right. Why? Because they didn't say 2x plus 1 equals 0 or 5x plus 3 equals 0. And then let's solve this and see what we get. 2x equals -1. X actually equals -1/2. It's because they didn't take into account the 2 or the 5. So, having graded many of these tests, these are the pitfalls that I see. But the answer to this exact quadratic equation that has been already factored for you, and you use the zero product property, is x equals -1/2 and x equals -3/5. That is incorrect. So don't just try to be quick and jump to the answer mentally. Take the time to solve the equation so you can actually see it for yourself. I recommend you do the entire review after 3.6 because the entire review is like a practice test. It's got a practice problem, word problem on it. It asks you to factor, to solve, to find the x-intercepts. I would do that in addition to the practice test that's given in class. I think that would help you be most prepared for this test. Best of luck.